have a second of these, Councillor Perkins?
Thank you, Chair.
Who's it?
I'll second.
Okay. Thank you.
Today, in moving this recommendation, is a milestone for the future of our town. And everyone can be relieved, I'm not talking about Brexit. The future of our town and our community. This local plan sets out a path to greater prosperity, homes, jobs and better transport. Of course, we must always be conscious that we stand on the shoulders of those who designed the town and then those that actually built it. We are fortunate that the best features of Harlow are to be carried on in a contemporary way through our Garden Town status. Endorsed and funded by the government, the Garden Town Board, which I chair, now has an operating director that's carrying forward all the different work streams that relate to the development of the Garden Town project. This status could not have been achieved without the support of our neighbours, our neighbouring authorities. Epping Forest, East Herts, Essex County and East Herts County are also directly involved. Through this cooperation, I'm pleased to relate that officers from all these authorities are working together in work stream groups to carry forward important tasks. The documents before you tonight for approval are the product of an enormous amount of work by members of the local plan panel and the dedicated staff of the forward plan section and more generally the technical staff of the whole authority. I will therefore formally move on behalf of the Cabinet the recommendations A, B and C on page 23 of the agenda. Thank you, Chair.
Would anybody like to speak now?
Me again, Madam Chairman. The local plan is one of the most important documents produced by Harlow Council. It sets out the vision for future infrastructure and housing requirements that will be delivered in a planning period. This particular local plan, which defines the future building requirements up to 2033, has the potential to be one of the most radical blueprints seen since Sir Frederick Gifford completed the town's master plan in the 1940s. The truth is that this local plan is let down by administration's rush vision for infrastructure and a lack of consultation with residents. Just look at housing. The administration's plan for housing is based on delivering 9,200 dwellings during the course of the local planning period. But the objective assessment of housing need said that we are only required to build 7,400. The strategic sites supported by Labour in Harlow and neighbouring authorities that border us are at a very high risk of placing unmanageable strain on our local infrastructure. Because of the administration's poor negotiating strategy, Gilston to the north of Harlow will not realise the true number of dwellings that could be built on that site during the planning period. We support more housing to the north of Harlow, where it is sustainable with the right infrastructure to do so. We oppose the other strategic sites. The east of Harlow strategic housing site in Old Harlow is deeply controversial. This site will alter the fabric of Old Harlow's village community in Churchgate Street for good. Current infrastructure will not be able to cope for the 2,600 dwellings projected to be built on Harlow's side of the strategic site to the east. The council also considers plans, which I am shocked by, to close Hobbs Cross Road. It is madness even to consider this closure. Coming off Hobbs Cross Road at the bottom of Churchgate Street will create chaos Plans also to build on Jocelyn's playing field, which is pretty much landlocked, are completely absurd. Let's look at infrastructure. The administration plans to promote a modal shift from car to other modes of transport. In particular, nobody would disagree with this plan in principle. The north-south, east-west sustainable transport corridors that have been drawn up in the current local plan for buses would run in line with the current road network. So my question is, how can we practically, given there's a large lack of space on our avenues, could we conceive a scheme and deliver it, but there's very little space and additional capacity to do so? Although I welcome plans for a second river store crossing at River Way, a plan to accommodate an access route for the strategic housing site to the east of Gilden Way will place even more pressure on the already congested road network in Old Harlow. The local plan could also run the risk of legal challenge. Other local authorities are facing this problem. Epping's local plan has been halted by a legal challenge. What contingency plans has the council put in place for legal challenges on its own local plan? The other key factor in this debate tonight is confidence. Councillors opposite haven't displayed authoritative leadership throughout this process. If we are to secure inward investment, bring more business opportunities into the town and meet residents' expectations on modern living, we need an administration confident in its ability to articulate a better future for our town. The administration's hesitation and lack of ambition for Harlow has surfaced through its continued opposition to allow full and open consultation with residents on the local plan. They have opted for a Regulation 19 process, meaning residents will not be able to question where strategic sites should go, but being forced through by the councillors opposite. The local plan matters because it signals a major expansion of housing in our town. We all are afraid the town itself is approaching the scale of a small regional city at the end of this planning period, if these plans go ahead. Whilst it is important to build more homes, including the right mix of affordable dwellings, if we are to rush ahead with an ill-thought-out infrastructure plan, Harlow will not be able to capitalise on the regional economic opportunities open to us at this critical juncture in our town's history.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak? Yes, please.
I want a bit of a role tonight. I wasn't going to speak, but actually Joel just reminded me that I just wonder what the Danny Pert of 1940s would look like. And how did that person manage to get through the vision of what a new town would look like? But we now come 70 years on, and that is our moment, that we are now ready to take that next step into the future. And like in the 1940s, there would have been many challenges, many criticisms, many people who said, not in my field or my backyard or whatever at those particular times. But leadership is about having the vision, having the ambition, having the drive and the determination, but more importantly, being able to take key partners, our community with us, and actually understand it. Because this is not about a new plan for a new town. This is about how we support the current town to enable it to develop and open up. And as the Cabinet Member for Regeneration and Enterprise, I'm very excited about this because it's about the economic progression of what we want to do to enable our community to grow and prosper. And this is not just about houses, it's about new jobs. It's about new opportunities. It's about new education. It's about a new hospital. It's about new homes, but it's also about a new town centre. We have got the opportunity to make this town either Harlow as it is or a wider Harlow. But we have to have that ambition, we have to have that drive, and we have to have that determination. They had it in the 1940s. And one of the great things about the exhibition of the 1770, which I talked about earlier on, is people came to this town with hope and ambition, and they made it. They made it successful. And this is the next stage of that journey for all of us. So I commend my colleague of the Cabinet member for his bravery, his energy, his commitment and drive. And I hope that everybody can actually come on board. We will disagree, and that is absolutely fine. That is democracy. But if we really believe in a town for the future, then we believe in this plan, and we take it out, and we make sure that we can truly deliver it. Thank you.
Councillor Carter, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. As my colleague has already pointed out, this is not a plan for consultation by the people of Harlow, so they can actually comment on where the future properties may go. It's merely a consultation about the process. Is the plan sound? For example, whether it sufficiently plans for Harlow's housing, infrastructure and employment needs. Let's have a look. On page 73 of the agenda, paragraph 4.9, it says, the district will provide 9,200 dwellings over the local plan period, with the intention that at least 30% of these will be for affordable housing. This reflects the objectively assessed housing need and the viability study, as required by national policies. These new homes will be provided within the administrative boundary of Harlow. That's 9,200 homes, 30% affordable within Harlow. Moving on to page 96, paragraph 7.3, report says the SHMA calculates the OAHN for the district, including affordable and special housing requirement. However, in order to contribute to meeting the district's affordable housing need, additional housing above the OAHN has been proposed. That's additional housing above the OAHN. Whereas paragraph 4.9 says 9,200 homes reflects the OAHN. So which is it? Does the OAHN indicate 9,200 homes or not? Will the inspector view these contradictions as sound? On the same theme, we move on to page 174 of the agenda, paragraph 14.36. The SHMA 2015 indicates there is a need for 13,600 affordable dwellings over the local plan period. Specifically for Harlow, the affordable housing need is 3,400 affordable homes. So assuming we are talking about 9,200 homes built in Harlow, and 30% of which are affordable, that comes to 2,760. So how do we arrive at 3,400? How sound and reliable are these figures? And I return to section 4.9, which says all these homes will be built in Harlow. Well, it's fairly obvious that the plan only covers Harlow, albeit in the context of the OAHN objectively assessed housing need and the duty to cooperate. But at the local development plan panel, which has already been alluded to, on the 23rd of August last year, and I quote, Councillor Clerk said it accepted that Harlow was not able to meet the social housing obligation within the town and would have to be met by developments in Epping Forest and East Harts. And then in November, at the same panel, and again I quote from the minutes, officers said that the final figure of the percentage of affordable housing was close to being finalised and was expected to be around 7%. It was recognised that recent planning applications in Harlow could not meet this level of provision and be viable. However, other developments in the SHMA could support 40% affordable housing and could make up for Harlow's shortfall. The importance of ensuring that Harlow residents could be placed in social housing near to Harlow had been recognised. So when did this downstream conversion, being able to build all the properties in Harlow, emerge? If there was that much concern weeks before the plan was presented to Cabinet 2 months ago, how could anyone believe or trust the plan before us tonight? Is that sound? I think not. As my colleague has also alluded to, we have the sustainable transport corridor, north-south and east-west, which is highlighted on page 77. Which I see you all have in front of you. When this corridor was first moved, it was a broad brush concept sweeping across the town. Now we get to the actual plan to realise just how difficult it is to impose a segregated priority strategic bus route through the town on top of the existing road infrastructure. station and onto Gorston Park. Just chop down a few hundred trees, realign Fifth Avenue, you're fine.
Would you
But
talk
how-
about winding up in a minute, please, Simon?
Yeah. But how do you get a stable, strategic bus corridor across Edinburgh Way roundabout without causing massive disruption? Sound, realistic, achievable? Good luck with that one. So are the housing numbers justified by the OAHS? Are these numbers sound? And can they
Time's up.
build all the houses in Harlow?
Thank you. Right. Is there anybody else wishing to speak? Right. Okay. Now, would you like that?
Thank you, Chair. I know this isn't the first time that this document has been discussed in the Council. I know it's a hot topic over a period of time, but I think it's really important today that we look at the local plan and the consultation. This is to go out and hear what residents have to say on the process and how we move forward with the local plan. And so I'm really pleased that we'll be in place tonight to be able to give local residents that opportunity very soon and give them the time to do that and hear what they have to say. Quite often we get caught up in this little bubble, it's just us, and we forget that very much what we're doing, everything we do here is for the town, for everyone in Harlow and for future generations. Harlow was a bold idea as a new town. It was built over existing villages and there was a lot of process at the time. A lot of times said it could be done, how we would cope, how we would have the resources and the infrastructure. But look where we are today. We just celebrated the 71st anniversary of Harlow. We're in a fantastic place. I've spent many times over the past few months at Centre Club Leader meeting with different stakeholders and talking about what an important place we're in for Harlow. We've got exciting projects coming up with Public Health England moving, the Enterprise Zone thriving, and many of our schools and colleges to be proud of. We're growing as a town. We're not in a place where we can say no more and none around us. It's to look at how that is done and ensuring that proper infrastructure comes with new housing. We need new housing, but we need the roads and we need a new junction to the motorway and we need to look at a northern bypass that will support the housing over the motorway. Most importantly, we need a new hospital. We're in a place now where Prince Alexander can't cope where it is with these new people. We're going to need our GP surgeries and closing one is not going to help within that situation. We're in a really important place where we need to look at the skills and the infrastructure for Harlow. This is a bold vision to look forward. And sometimes being bold isn't always popular. Sometimes it's hard to stand up and say, we think we need to do what is best for this town. But we are a strong administration and we will do that. Our leadership has shown in developing this plan and working with our partners and our councils around, even though we may not always agree politically, we've been able to work strongly together. It's fantastic we've managed to secure so much funding around a garden city and the principles of how the expansions will look. Because building new homes needs to fit with the ideas of Harlow. It needs to look at green lawns and different areas that we so much value in all our neighbourhoods. So I think this is a really exciting time to go ahead. Harlow is at a crossroads right now. And we stay as we are, and we get on okay. Or we be bold and we take big steps forward. We say we're serious partners in the area, that we're a serious economic growth region within the London, Stansted, Cambridge corridor, that we say to business, not just in the UK, but across the world, come here, come to us. We'll provide you with good quality housing, good quality education, our roads will be up to scratch, and so will our railways. There's a lot of things that we need to do to make sure this happens. And there's a lot of steps.
I'd like to make a few points about how we get on with and how we negotiate. Now, as far as the transportation aspects of this report are concerned, I'll be honest with members. They mainly come from the county council. I don't say that because I'm looking to make any, insulting remarks about the county council, but I don't think they're bold enough about a step up in transportation in this town. But unfortunately, they are the highway authority, and their views are reflected in this plan. Personally, I got my own views about what should be in this plan as far as transportation is concerned. They're much bolder than the county council. But the thing is with this plan, it's not a final plan, it's a draft plan. And all these local plans are continually evolving. They're a moving feast. They never still. The figures have been raised. To be honest, the government's still changing the figures every few months. The figures get changed. They themselves are moving. But the main thing the main disagreement I have with the county council on transportation is not just about the transport corridors, and I agree with Councillor Carter some of his criticisms. I've got my own criticisms of what is proposed. It's not future enough. But the main thing I would like support from the other side on, which I've managed to get Herts County Council on board with, and Herts County Council are much more sympathetic to the transport problems in Harlow than Essex are. Herts are still keeping on the table the prospect of a northern bypass. It's shown, I go along and take part in the A414 working group with all the Herts County districts and Herts County Council, and they've included the northern bypass of Harlow in their plans for 414. We should encourage that support. We should also encourage Essex County Council to change their mind, which is, maybe sometime 50 years' time. No, we need it earlier than that, because we need it to solve a lot of the transport problems of Harlow. So let's work together. And, there's not as much opposition as the other side try and make out. I went along to a meeting in Churchgate Street, right in the heart of Councillor Charles' ward, and had a meeting with the Churchgate Street Residents Association, and actually they were interested not in laying down in front of bulldozers, but actually getting involved with talking to developers about what the developments could mean for them. And that's what we need to do. We need to involve residents in consultation about how all these plans are going to be developed and what role they can play in that consultation. Let's be positive, not negative.
Chair, point of personal clarification. I attended the meeting.
That is not a valid rule,
I
Chair.
attended the meeting.
What
And
is
his regulation is wrong.
There's
Can we
no
just have a moment's quiet?
Personal clarification to clarify what the councillors previously said. He was
He
not
hasn't
saying
said
what
anything
Councillor
about
Charles
Councillor
said.
Charles.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, she said it was in his ward.
Okay, yeah. Have you finished, Councillor?
Yes. I think we're all right.
Okay. At that point, may we come to the vote, please? All those in favour? Okay. All those against? And abstentions, please.